On December 7th, 2022, the Nova Scotia government released Our Climate, Our Future, Nova Scotia's Climate Change Plan for Clean Growth. This plan is meant to provide the roadmap for how Nova Scotia is going to tackle the climate crisis. In this video series, Voices on the Climate Plan, we speak with different community members, leaders, and organizers to get their thoughts on how the plan measures up to this huge task. All 6 videos will be available on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check them all out.
I am Abhi Jain. I work with the municipality of the district of Lunenburg as a sustainability planner. Last year, in November, we completed our local climate change action plan, and it is officially adopted by the municipal council. And now we are working towards its implementation.
As someone who's familiar with how your municipality is tackling climate change, how do you think the provincial climate plan compares?
If we would be comparing directly, I don't really think that would be a fair comparison because it's a provincial-wide plan and it was supposed to be more diverse to include all those sectors. Ours is rather catered only mostly towards the municipality, and it is also more like a strategic plan, while ours is more a concrete action plan. We speak more specifically what actions we will be doing, when we will be doing, and so on. But overall, I think the plan does set a good foundation for our province and does give municipalities to a sense where we all should be moving towards.
What stood out to you the most?
I think what stood out to the most is especially their work towards the electricity grid and their heavily investment into making the grid renewable energy based grid. So which is really good to see. So for example, their achievement of having 370 megawatt or so coming from renewable energy sources and to phase out all the coal generating power plants by the end of this decade. Last year, they had a Green Choice, I think, program, and in this year, upcoming year too, they're coming up with program that provides opportunities to municipalities like us to build renewable energy generation projects, and which we have already started preparing for. So some of those things align with the provincial goals, as well as also help us to invest in these clean energy technologies and projects. Some of the actions didn't really give us more detailed sense, which I would have liked. Like they would want to retrofit up to 60,000 homes, or like help them to move away from oil-based heating system, which is great, but they didn't really tell or like speak much about the new buildings. So they did have like a concrete plans for the new government buildings. Like by 2022, all the new government buildings should be net zero ready, and by mid-decade, by the end of this decade, they should be all net zero. But what about the residential buildings? Because there is so population is growing in Nova Scotia, and many new buildings that are still being constructed to the same standards which have been prescribed in their building codes. This doesn't really solve the problem. Even though on one side we are putting so much money and efforts towards retrofitting these older existing homes, on the other side we are not really doing anything concretely about the new homes that are being built, and the problem is still piling up.
Going back to Lunenburg's climate change plan, what are some of the challenges that you are experiencing or anticipate in implementing the plan? And does the provincial plan help to address some of those challenges?
The cost itself of implementing some of those actions, which is really high, and we don't really have that capacity to invest in those actions. So we would really like to see support from the province. Does the provincial plan help? The actions that we have set out in our plan aligns more or less with the provincial ones, but some of the actions are not detailed enough. We don't really know when are they going to implement those actions, how much money they're going to put into those actions. They say they are going to plant 21 million trees. So we don't really know when are they going to plant those trees. We also have our own target of planting 10,000 trees by the end of this decade. So now we are thinking, should we wait for the province to provide more details, or should we just go ahead and develop our own tree planting programs? I really was happy to see they are going to expand their home retrofitting programs and also will include middle income homeowners. While province, for example, does a good job in developing programs, there is still, I think, room for improvement in helping people or like navigating people through these programs, understanding how to apply. With my colleagues, like in the office too, they would want to apply for this federal program that has been attached with the provincial program, which is Canada Greener Grants. So in the province, the program is being delivered under the home energy assessment. Now the federal government says the province is going to administer that program. And if you would reach out to the province to help us or guide through how the application works or what to do, they will like loop back us to the federal. The federal website takes us to the provincial website. And if you click on the provincial website, they have a link to the federal website. It is like, where do an average homeowner go? It's like they put us in this infinite loop.
I'm curious what you thought about the actions that do specifically mention municipalities, which was about partnering with municipalities to electrify public transit and then providing funding and supporting community-based climate change coordinators. Do you think these actions will be helpful?
In MODL, we never had public transit options. And we really want to have public transit options for our residents. And we also want it at the same time to be either electrical or like zero emission vehicles. But the problem is we don't have those, first of all, not that kind of investment that we at a municipal level could do. Two, we don't have that infrastructure. So if province is going to provide us support in establishing those public transit options in those municipalities, that would really be very helpful. But we will have to see what they come up with, as again, they didn't really provide much details. Same as with the coordinator, building capacity is essential. Right now, I am the only staff person who is working on this, implementing the 10-year climate change action plan. We definitely need more staff resources who also have that similar technical background or scientific background. That would really help if we would get more of those coordinator support from the province.
What other supports do municipalities need from the province?
Improving communications within municipal and the province, so that they get a better sense what we are facing. So the province last year they made a change in solar net metering capacity. So what they did was all the organizations, they were allowed, before that they could only install solar panels or like solar panel system of 100 kilowatt capacity. And they increased that capacity last year from 100 kilowatt to 1000 kilowatt. So which is really good. That means our organizations can put up bigger solar systems. In our municipal services building, we also thought, well, we should have solar panel in our municipal building. So we applied for that 100 kilowatt system, and hoping now that they have even increased the cap, we would even benefit more. Even though on the news, if you will read, it appears as if the system has been implemented, but in the back end, it has not. So Nova Scotia Power still is not processing our application and only permitting us to install 27 kilowatt solar system. And municipalities are like, we have already invested $300,000. Solar panels are up. You mean to say we cannot produce electricity from them? And so we tried to reach out to the province, still didn't work out. So we're still not allowed to fully use of our 100 kilowatt capacity. Our solar panels are already on the roof, but they are sitting there. We want to also install more solar energy on our wastewater treatment facilities and other municipal owned operations. But now we are apprehensive. This delays our timelines, and this is only going to, at a local level, make us harder to reach our emission reduction targets.
I'm really curious about how municipalities are doing on climate adaptation and whether the province is providing good enough support or what more is needed.
One thing really helped us was the climate data, which I really, that we also used in our plan too, like access to climate data, which they had developed in partnership with Climate Atlantic. So that was really good thing. Now we know like what we can expect, changes in snowfall days, rainfall, precipitation. Our plan covers both mitigation but adaptation too. But at a local level, we also face our own local challenges to convince our municipal council to act on those actions.